This is just a very thinly veiled attempt of the governor to intimidate scientists and get back at me while trying to get to my sources, as he's been firing DOH staff left and right. DeSantis needs to worry less about what I'm writing about and more about the people who are sick and dying in his state. And doing this to me will not stop me from reporting the data, ever.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Lewis once again with the Benjamin Dixon Show, bringing you yet another daily news update. So Rebekah Jones is a former data scientist for the Florida Department of Health, and she was the victim of a raid by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement at her Tallahassee home yesterday because, according to the official story by the police officers, of a complaint that was filed by the DOH about a hack of the Department of Health messaging system. So they confiscated a lot of her hardware, they drew guns on her family, and once again, it shows how these groups are not used to serve and protect, but to command and conquer. So take a look at this first clip here, and I will be right back with my thoughts.
You remember Rebekah Jones, data scientist, fired by the Florida Department of Health in May after questioning state officials' commitment to accessibility and transparency with COVID-19 data? Well, today, her home was raided as part of a cybercrime investigation. Video of the raid here, you can see officers coming in, guns drawn.
Come outside. Outside.
Who else is in the house, ma'am?
My 2 children and my husband.
Where's your husband at?
Calm down. Calm down.
You want the children now?
Call them all down.
Mr. Jones, come down the stairs. Now!
Police, come down now.
Search warrant.
Bring your
Come down the
children.
stairs.
My children!
Quinn, hang on. Let me clear the
He
house.
just pointed a gun at my children!
So the question is, why? Rebekah Jones joins us now for an exclusive interview. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Chris.
Why do you think this happened?
After speaking to my attorneys and looking over the evidence they said they have, I actually think that they're not after me. They didn't take the router in my house. They didn't take a number of laptops in the house that belonged to my son or my husband that could have easily done whatever it is that they think happened. They took my phone and they took the computer that I use to run my companies. And on my phone is every communication I've ever had with someone who works at the state, who has come to me in confidence and told me things that could get them fired or in trouble like this. And I just want to say to all those people right now, if he doesn't know already, DeSantis will know soon enough that you've been talking to me. So be careful.
Wow, that's definitely pretty serious. So let's recap what she said. So they didn't take the router. They didn't take all of the laptops. They specifically took her phone. So that tells you right there, they're trying to perhaps maybe trace where she's been, definitely trace who she's been in contact with. That's for sure. And the computer she uses to run her companies. So the phones have access to logs that she's been using to talk to people on the inside of she said the state, so I'm assuming the Department of Health, the Florida Department of Health, where she used to work, or maybe even other people within Florida itself, the Florida state government. But that's definitely pretty insane. So I want to read this snippet here from the Tallahassee Democrat, and it's about halfway down the article. It says, quote, Jones, who launched her own COVID-19 dashboard after she was fired and used crowdsourcing to raise money for it, said agents knocked on her door around 8:30 a.m. that morning, took all her hardware and tech after showing her a warrant based on a complaint filed by the Florida Department of Health. So I mentioned that earlier. And then further down the article, it says Jones, the former Geographic Information Science manager, was fired for insubordination in May after being reprimanded several times, state officials say. Her paperwork doesn't state a cause for her being fired, but she claims she was terminated for here's the key. She claims she was terminated for refusing to manipulate health data to cast Florida in a more favorable light. And she has maintained this if you do just a tad bit of research on her and some of the things that she's been saying. So I do want to read to you some tweets that she sent out as well, right? So the first tweet says, and this is from her Twitter account at GeoRebecca. Number one, there will be no update today. At 8:30 a.m. this morning, state police came into my house and took all my hardware and tech. They were serving a warrant on my computer after DOH filed a complaint. They pointed a gun in my face. They pointed guns at my kids. And then the follow-up tweet number two says, they took my phone and the computer I use every day to post the case numbers in Florida and school cases for the entire country. Let me repeat that. They took my phone and the computer I use every day to post the case numbers in Florida. So the computer that they confiscated was the computer where she's putting out the COVID-19 data. Then she says they took evidence of corruption at the state level. See, that's a very important key point there. They claimed it was about a security breach. And then she says this was DeSantis. He sent the Gestapo. So in another tweet she sent out, she says, and this tweet was very early this morning at 12:18 in the morning, but it was on the 8th. So it says, now that you're here, and she has 6 bullet points. She says, number one, the COVID monitor will be updated with the new computer soon. So that's good to know. Number two, imagine if the camera wasn't recording. That's a very important point there as well. And this is probably the biggest point. Number three, imagine if I weren't white. You just think about that for a second. Number four, imagine this were you, because one day it might be. Number five, turn rage into action, retweet. Number six, I'll be back at work tomorrow. So I'm very encouraged by her persistence and how headstrong she is, and she needs support because she's a scientist, and scientists shouldn't come under attack because of the data that they're putting out. So the question is, do they actually have proof that she was the one who hacked the DOH messaging system, or is Rebekah Jones the victim of a targeted campaign to silence her? Because that's what I think this is. Because this looks like a bad attempt by the DeSantis-led Florida government to silence a scientist for not fudging data. Okay, and that's what Rebekah Jones seems to think. What do you think? All right, share your comments in the comment section below. Like I said, my name is Brian Lewis, and be on the lookout for my next video.